evening and welcome to the Netball Europe World Cup Qualifiers, coming live from the University of the Highlands and Islands in beautiful Perth. The opening match of this tournament sees Wales take on home side Scottish Thistles. Over the next 3 days, these teams will be fighting it out alongside Northern Ireland for only 2 places at the most prestigious event in world netball, the Netball World Cup 2019. Hosting the event next year is, of course, the great city of Liverpool. Let's take a quick look at what we've got to look forward to. And what a competition the World Netball Cup is going to be next year. There's absolutely everything to play for this weekend. I'm Lynn Carpenter, and joining me in the commentary box tonight is Sarah Bayman. Sarah, welcome.
Thank you.
Sarah, England international and current Sirens player, so used to the environment up here in Scotland.
Yeah.
2 Commonwealth Games, 2 World Netball Cups, so you will know what this event this weekend means to all these players.
Yeah, I think it's huge. You know, to go to a World Cup is the pinnacle of a netballer's career, and so these teams are well aware of what's on the line. A lot of these girls will have been to major championships before, and they'll be desperate to get to another one, especially as it's in the UK.
And as we can see from the screen there, we have 3 games over this next 3 days, but only 2 the teams will go. So England qualify automatically through their world ranking and being hosts.
Yep, that's nice for us.
I'm sure you would say that. Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales have literally got to fight it out this weekend for one of those 2 places. And for the team that doesn't make it, what does that mean?
It's going to be devastating, and I think it's a hugely unfair system how teams qualify for the World Cup. You want your best teams in the world going to a World Cup, so from my point of view it should be done on world rankings, similar to how Commonwealth Games is done. It's not how it's done, so three teams from the European region will go, and one of these teams, which are all in the top teams in the world, won't be there at a World Cup.
And as you can see from the Welsh squad there, we've got some very experienced players going to take to the court shortly. Let me just tell you who from the Welsh squad will be the starting 7 tonight. So starting at the back, goalkeeper Morgan, goal defence Nia Jones, in at wing defence their captain Susie Drain, centre Kyra Jones, wing attack Bethan Dyke, goal attack Sarah Llewellyn, and in at goal shooter we have Georgia Rowe. So mixture of experience and new blood there. Yeah,
definitely so, and I think both these teams have got a lot of experience in them, but also some young players that they're looking to come through and perform for them on this stage.
So let's also have a look at the Scotland squad there. So starting at the back, we have Hayley Mulherone, who's one of the most experienced players for Scotland, on over 100 caps at goalkeeper. Goal defence, Fiona Thurman, been playing down for Adelaide Thunderbirds. Wing defence, Sam Murphy. At centre, their very experienced captain, Claire Brownie. Wing attack, Nicola McCleary. At goal attack, Lindsay Gallagher, and their shooter, Bethan Goodwin. So out of the two squads, who do we need to look out for tonight, Sarah?
I think the battle, obviously I'm a centre, and looking at the two centres, Kyra Jones and Claire Brownie, that's going to be a real battle royal in the middle of the court. But also the Scottish shooting circle, Bethan Goodwin's a young shooter. She was at the Under-21 World Cup for Scotland last year. To see how she holds up at this level will be interesting, and she'll be hoping that she does well. And likewise in the other shooting circle, Georgia Rowe, she was at Northumbria Super League last year. She'll be hoping that experience stands her in good stead internationally, and the experienced duo of Mulheven and Thiemann will be doing their absolute best to keep her out.
So for those of you who are tuning in at home, you're very welcome, and remember, if you want to join the netball conversation tonight, send us your comments on our hashtag NEWNCQ. We'd love to hear your thoughts, and Sarah and I will do our best to mention you tonight. When you look back in October to the Open that we held in Cardiff only a few months ago, these three teams took to the court there. Wales v Scotland, the score that night was Wales 49, Scotland 58, so 9-goal game then.
Yeah, I mean, a 9-goal game then, but then the other games between these three nations, Northern Ireland beat Scotland, Wales almost beat Northern Ireland. These three teams cannot be separated at the minute, and I think this is probably going to be the most hotly contested World Cup qualifiers we've seen in a long time.
I think we would all agree with you, and as you can see, the teams have now taken to the courts, the balls with the umpire, and we're just waiting to get to 7:30 to start. So the crowd is just going a little bit quiet in anticipation.
Yeah, the umpires are going to have an important job to do tonight. I think this is going to be full of emotion, full of passion, probably a pretty feisty affair.
The venue, not surprisingly, sold out almost the minute the tickets came into availability. So we're delighted that our support with the International Netball Federation, who funded the live streaming here tonight, and to our partners QTV Sports and of course BBC, who are taking the live stream this evening. So from a few years ago to netball going out live like now, what a change in our sport.
Yeah, it's massive, and I think the public interest in the sport is just growing and growing, and the more visibility we get for it at events like these, the better. This isn't the biggest venue, but the noise being generated by these fans is huge, and for people to have the opportunity to see the match at home is phenomenal, and hopefully will continue and be something that we see more and more of.
And here we go, Jones at centre for Wales starts the match tonight. Nia Jones came back into netball.
Yeah, Nia Jones was playing football at Reading, I think, and has come back to netball for Commonwealth Games year.
Hayley Mulheron there, making sure the umpires were clear that it was her ball. So early pressure from Scotland forced the turnover on Welsh first centre pass. Another excellent turnover there. Good hands around the circle by Jones, as we're already seeing.
Yeah, some
end-to-end competition.
Some good through-court play there, and you would have liked to see Bethan put that shot up from distance, but shooters tend to like a higher percentage shot for the first one, as you'll know, Lynn.
What are you suggesting there, Sarah? I think in a competition like this, where the pressure's on, the coaches might have said to them, settle, first shot away.
You don't really want your first shot to be your ankles on the circle edge.
So Scotland doing a good job in defence, forcing Wales wide there on every ball down the court, long ball.
That's the ball we're going to be looking for all night, especially with Thiemann matching up on Georgia Rowe on that occasion. She's not as tall as Georgia Rowe. I think they prefer to keep Mulheven on Rowe if they possibly can, Scotland.
So after a tricky start, first minute and a half to get the first go up, we see that Wales takes a lead 1-0. And make no mistake this time, Goodwin puts the ball away, levels the match already.
And it is a nerve settler, that one. It was a good shot. She looked confident, composed, and she'll be looking to grow from that. Susie Drain there in mid-court, just trying to control the tempo of the game, keeping hold of the ball, making sure Wales don't rush it, getting a call and just kind of settling her team down.
And Susie, although very experienced, is also relatively young still. She's captain Wales for a while now, come through the ranks.
Yeah, I mean, she's a role model in Welsh netball. She's such a professional attitude, a really good trainer, drives a team on. She's just everything you want to see in a netballer, and she's a really good person to boot.
I mean, the pace is tremendous at the moment. Every ball's being competed for.
Yeah, I was just thinking the mid-court are going to be feeling this. 1-0 after almost 3 minutes. You're just running up and down at the minute if you're in the mid-court. Not getting any respite of people scoring. Bit of a miscommunication there between Gallagher and McCleary.
So Wales bring it back down the court. Still only 1-1 with 3 minutes gone in this first quarter, and
that's what Mulheron loves to do, to come out on those flies. The ball isn't necessarily going to her opponent, but she'll anticipate the pass and come high out of the circle to go and get that intercept.
And with her experience, 106 caps, you'd expect her to be up there. And here we go, Scotland 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised when I saw Hayley had that many caps, and it's a huge achievement to get to 100 caps internationally. Ball just slipping through McCleary's hands there, and Wales have got a bit of a fast break on here.
Scotland just need to tidy up their game a little bit.
Yeah,
in terms of feeding each other.
Defensively, they're putting a lot of pressure on, but in attack, there's been a couple of sloppy mistakes that they'll want to get it right next time.
Putting pressure on there in the middle, stopping the ball going through to Rowe. Successful turnover again.
Very cramped in that circle at the minute. You need to try and open up a bit of space to get the shooters out of there, get them free.
So it's still only 2-1 to Scotland in this first quarter of the Netball World Cup qualifier here in Perth in Scotland.
Another good shot by Bethan Goodwin. She's settled herself into the game, which is nice for her, especially as a younger player. And like I said, there's a lot of pressure in that circle, so they'll want their shooters to settle quickly for both sides.
So putting on the double in there against Rowe, forcing Wales to rely on their goal attack. And Llewellyn's a really competent goal attack. It's been instrumental in their shooting circle for a number of years now.
Yeah, I mean, she's a really good goal attack, but I think both teams, you need your goal attack to take a shot early in the game to get them into the game, and neither goal attacks have put a shot up, and it starts to become a bit of a worry then, because they're out of the game, and the longer it takes, the more the nerves build for that first shot for them. Here's an opportunity for Llewellyn. She's got an obstruction call against Mulheron there.
And there you go, puts it away. 3-2 now, Scotland lead Wales.
Good tip there by Kyra Jones after centre pass defence for Wales. Again, another misunderstanding there in the Scottish attack, and they're winning a lot of ball at the minute, and they're not able to take it through to goal, which will be frustrating, and the attack end will be looking to sort that out as soon as possible, because they can't continue to defend.
Here we go, Georgie Rowe indicating wanted that ball a little bit earlier in there. Good shot by Rowe, levels the game 3-3. I think it's fair to say it's a little bit low scoring at the moment, Sarah.
Yeah, it's very low scoring, and it's like we expected, a bit of a nervous start from both teams. High defensive pressure from both sides, and they're struggling to score. That's what they need. Beth and Dyke, they're just keeping her width for Wales, making sure that they're able to open up the court, and then she's able to feed Georgia Rowe under the post with very little pressure on her. And when it becomes tight like this, the temptation is for everyone to get narrow, everyone to go and help, and the players just need to keep the width and keep the space and be able to get rid of the defenders in some space.
So you've got to give the Welsh defence credit here. They're making it really difficult for Scotland's attack to get the ball in.
They are, and every ball's contested in that circle at the minute.
But Goodwin was equal to the shooting down the other end. 4-all, halfway through this first quarter.
I think what Wales defenders do really well in terms of Susie and Nia, their wing defence, goal defence, is they bring the ball so high through court. You see they've got it right on this third line that it makes life a lot easier for the attackers when they're not having to come up court to get the ball. They can just allow it to be brought down to them. Another good shot by Georgia Rowe. Puts Wales into the lead, 5-4.
Bit of competition there between Jones and Gallagher in the circle. Good feed through. Sometimes wonder about advantage. It's a difficult call.
There definitely wasn't an advantage there, was it? But the whistle had gone. It had to be taken back, and it is frustrating as a player. But fortunately for Scotland, they still scored it.
So nothing between these two sides. 6 minutes left on the in this first quarter. 5-all.
Yeah, I think Wales will be looking to get Llewellyn into the circle a little bit earlier. If the longer she stays out the circle, the two Scottish defenders can just double on Georgia Rowe. As soon as she gets in there, someone has to pick her up.
And that was a real good understanding between the two. Nice split the defenders there.
Yeah. Nice easy shot for Georgia Rowe to put in.
So we're just waiting for the scoreboard to update if you're watching at home. I think it should be 6-5, and that should take the score to 6-all.
Big shot there.
Drain really drives hard along that third line.
That cross-court ball from Drain to Kyra Jones is what Mulheron's looking to pick off. She just missed it that time, but Scotland won't be too upset if they continue to give those balls and give their defenders opportunity to go on intercepts.
So Brownie finding the edge of the circle, back into Goodwin.
Fortunate that she got an obstruction call there. Gets another crack at it.
Here we go, just into the last 5 minutes now. Still 7-all.
That'll be pleasing for Scotland to see Georgia Rowe out of the circle. The real danger is her being under the post, using her height. As soon as she comes out the circle, those defenders will be happy because she's much less dangerous out there.
Penalty shot there to Gallagher.
Good shot there from Lindsay Gallagher. Her first shot, I think, in almost 11 minutes. So nice for her to put that first one in.
And their centre pass, so opportunity to go 2 ahead here now for Scotland. They can convert. I think we all felt that. Gallagher left to have pushed off Jones.
Yeah, it's a 50-50 call. Sometimes the attackers get that, sometimes it goes against them, and yeah, it went in Jones's favour there.
We could probably talk for a long time about contact, contest.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about it all day, but I definitely wouldn't want to be an umpire in today's game.
I was just about to say the same thing. And actually, the players on the court can only be as good as they are with the quality of the umpires we have around the outside. So we sometimes don't mention Team White as much as we should, but they're an integral part, and there you go, vision in there, as you were saying earlier to Rowe. Really, really positive from Wales. 8-all, 3 minutes to go. So the coaches will be thinking on the bench, do we stay? Do we twist?
Yeah. I think I can't imagine changes being made just yet. I think these players will be given at least a half, and it was unlikely that this game was ever going to be anywhere near one after the first quarter. So I think if they go in level or 1 or 2 in it, everyone will be reasonably happy, and we'll probably see the same sevens come out.
So Llewellyn got the benefit of a penalty pass. Scores, so Wales take a narrow lead, 9-8. I'm sure the viewers who are watching at home can hear the crowd.
Yeah, attacking contact there called on Nicola McCleary. Crowd don't seem too impressed with that one. Bit of a miscommunication in the defensive circle there. Georgia Rowe just pops through completely free on the front.
So for the first time this game we see a 2-goal lead, which is going to Wales at the moment.
Gallagher unlucky there. You always like to see your attacking players back on defence, and she just unfortunately got called for contact there.
If you are watching at home, send us your thoughts on this game so far. We knew it was going to be tight, but I think the players are proving that to be the case. Text or in from Janice Fiona Bell, would wish she was watching, but she's actually got kids, so wants us to keep her updated. So we'll do our best to do that through the Netball Europe website. So good turnover from Scotland. Just over a minute to go. They'll be disappointed at that.
It's a big miss there. Wales having the opportunity to go 3 up, which is kind of a big break in a game this tight. Scotland will be looking to capitalise now. Oh, that's a great interception from Bethan Dyke.
We're into the last minute now, just over 30 seconds, and as we know in netball, that's a long time at this level.
Yeah, it can feel like an eternity.
And there we go, Wales didn't manage to keep hold of it, almost threw it away again.
So much loose ball there. Sam Murphy's just got done for repossession, but I'm not sure anyone had control of that ball for a while.
But again, that was your point about Nia Jones on that transverse line, picking up anything that comes her way. So, 10 seconds to go. Wales lead 11-8 in this first of the 3 matches this weekend.
Scotland need to get this ball into the shooter quickly. And you see that when it is time pressured and it's rushed, the mistake comes.
Shooter's calling for the ball. Good one, going to have one last go at it.
I'm not sure how nothing's called under that post there, but Scotland get the goal.
And there we are. First quarter ends here in Perth in Scotland, and we see that Wales have got a narrow lead over Scotland, 11 goals to 9. So Sarah, what you would expect?
Yeah, pretty much. Low scoring, tight, competitive, feisty. A little bit error-ridden in that first quarter, but I think that's to be expected with the nerves and it being such a huge weekend for these teams. I know that they've been building up to this for a long time. They're well aware what's on the line, and you can kind of sense that a little bit in this first quarter.
So as they go into the benches there, you were saying earlier we wouldn't expect to see any changes at this stage. Nobody's particularly standing out as any issues. I think we said earlier Scotland have struggled to make that conversion from their turnovers into attack.
Yeah, I think that'll most likely be the message from the Scottish bench. You know, we're getting enough ball, we're turning ball over. We need to work it through, get it to our shooters, because the attack end at the minute is where it's breaking down.
And we have people tuning in from all over the world, as you'd expect for such an important game. Janice Marino, one of our many friends in Gibraltar, glad you're watching. Hope you're enjoying the game. Give our regards to Moira and the team down there in Gibraltar, won't you?
Yeah, where we'd all rather be. not then here exactly, but you know.
You meant about the weather. I think
weather.
Sarah was the right answer.
I'll just keep digging
point.
that hole.
So we're playing one game a day here in Perth, Scotland, and thanks to our host Netball Scotland for this weekend of netball. We will shortly be taken to the court again. Don't forget you can tune in all weekend to watch live netball courtesy of QTV Sport, the International Netball Federation, and of course BBC. So however you're watching the netball, whether you're here live at the sports hall or watching us on the live stream, I hope you're enjoying the netball. Keep sending your comments in. Remember, hashtag NEWNCQ, World Netball Cup Qualifiers. So once every 4 years, one of these teams that we said at the beginning won't be going to the World Netball Championships. The funding in netball is so tight for these teams.
Yeah. Well, if you look at these squads, Fiona Thiemann is a professional netball player playing for Adelaide Thunderbirds in the Suncorp Super Netball League in Australia. And other than that, everyone is pretty much holding down a job or studying. And it's hard work to get up and train, to go and do a full day's work and then go back to training at night. And it's a huge amount of dedication. It's something that netball's trying to push forward in terms of attracting more sponsorship, more money into the sport, allowing people to work less or not work at all and be professional athletes. But it's a process that a lot of women's sport is fighting, and hopefully in time more money will come into the game and these athletes will be able to be netballers first and foremost.
And of course we'll probably touch on later the announcement today about the new Netball Players Association, another step towards that kind of aim of professionalism, support for players, the recognition that to be the best you can be, you need to have that support network around you.
Yeah, a huge step forward, and providing a collective voice for the players so that their issues and their welfare are at the heart of what's done by the bodies in UK netball.
So here we go, the start of the second quarter here in Perth. Wales lead 11-9, their centre pass. So a minute and a half to get the first goal in the first quarter.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to be that long this time. Just about 10 seconds. Nice centre pass there from Wales.
So Scotland will be feeling a bit of the pressure now, 3 goals. Home crowd.
Yeah, and it's hard when you're behind and then it's the opposition centre pass first, because then you're always chasing the game, and so mentally you've got to be strong through that. And that's a good shot again from Bethan Goodwin, and a nice feed from Brownie into her.
So through to Jones. Welland driving hard on that far side. That was a good wait to see where the pop from Rowe went.
Yeah, Mulheron thought he was going to go out to circle edge, kind of just took one step, and then Llewellyn put it into Rowe.
So gap now 3. Scotland centre pass, so I want to score this one. Brownie looking for Goodwin. Great shot. Plays very much the front game.
Yeah,
in there.
I mean, you don't see a lot of overballs going into the shooters in that Scottish circle. A lot of drop balls, low balls, front balls, but that's obviously their strength.
Well, it's taking their time. Good pressure from Brownie. Perhaps suggesting to the umpire she might have had a decision her way.
Just a hint towards the umpire there, but no call.
Again, good shot by Rowe. 2 minutes into this quarter, Wales take a lead again, 14 goals to 11. That's constant pressure on Scotland, isn't it, to keep that gap, to bring it back to 2 on their centre pass.
It's just scoreboard pressure here from Wales. It was their centre pass first in this quarter, and each time they score, they go 3 up. And then the pressure's on Scotland to respond, and so far they are doing it. It's a great shot by Lindsay Gallagher.
Great pick up there.
Oh, that was unlucky.
Well, alleged to have contacted there. So what will Wales make of the double opportunity?
I think that's been advanced into the circle.
Which actually you could argue
is no advantage.
Is not an
there.
advantage, is it?
No one really wants the ball on the edge of the circle.
That pressure from the Scottish defence there is really tight.
Yeah, a lot of physical pressure on Llewellyn there. And now she's going to have to try and find a shot or a pass. It's a big shot there from Georgia Rowe. Oh.
Out of court.
I think Mulherron was looking for a contact call there. It didn't come. Scotland just need to be careful about the penalty count. They don't want to be getting into the umpires' minds at this early stage of the game.
It's been a competitive game, but it's been well kind of contested.
Yeah, people are genuinely going for ball. There's nothing untoward going on out there. It's just people determinedly going for ball.
There we go. So 15 to Wales, 12 to Scotland. Their centre pass, playing catch up again.
And this is hard work. You look, they're struggling to get depth down court here.
Every ball being contested.
And then now they get a contact call in that ugly kind of range, just a little bit further out than the shooters want it to be. But again, another just drop ball to Bethan Goodwin, and she slots it in. So at some point, a team needs to break a centre pass here to increase the pressure on the opposition, whether that's Scotland or Wales. But it's just going on centre pass so far.
I remember, and you probably remember Lynn Gunson.
Yes.
Great coach. Used to say to us, netball's a simple game. Score off your centre pass and disrupt one or two of your opponents and you've won the game.
Yeah.
Makes it seem really
I remember doing
simple.
many sessions about just having to score off your possession, because if you're able to do that, it's going to make life a hell of a lot easier.
Well, it gives your own team confidence. It puts that question mark in the opponent's mind that they've got to constantly score off their own. And there we go. Wales have got a turnover now on Scotland's centre pass.
And it is a huge amount of pressure. Scotland are 3 down. They lose this one. They're 4 down, and then it's Welsh centre pass. So it is that scoreboard pressure that starts to tell.
Just the game's not flowing quite as well as it was in the first quarter now.
And then they've got an offensive contact against Kyra Jones there, and that's a big call. Like we said, Wales had a turnover. It's now gone back to Scotland, and they'll be looking to convert this one.
So you're almost at the point there where we're thinking it's a 5-goal game, and it might even now go back to 2 and then pressure on Scotland to turn over Wales. And that's a big goal.
That's huge, and for that to come from an offensive turnover, when Wales are in attack, will be disappointing from their point of view, and is a get out of jail free card for Scotland.
That's great pressure by the Welsh team there. Murphy putting pressure on Jones. Oh, Llewellyn called for contact.
I mean, Thiemann, I'm not saying she bought that, but she certainly made the most of that contact. And
was there an Oscar in there somewhere?
There might have been a nomination. But, you know, she's got a lot of experience. She's played in Australia. She knows what's what. And look, if you can get a contact, then you're going to get it, aren't you? You're not going to turn it down.
And there we go. That's the break on the centre pass we've been talking about this whole of the quarter. Just over 8 minutes in this quarter to go. 1 goal in it. Scotland now have an opportunity to draw level.
And that's the difference. We were just talking about a possible 5-goal advantage to Wales, and now it could be an even game again. You can see the swings in momentum of this game. Wales had it at the beginning of this quarter. Scotland are now very much in the ascendancy.
And there we go, back into the game completely.
I mean, Gail Parata looks uncannily calm there. I think I'm more nervous than her, and it's nothing to do with me, essentially.
So we're at the halfway mark in this second quarter, and there is literally nothing between these two sides. Wales 16, Scotland 16.
I think the good thing about these games being so close is that internationally, when they're not competing against each other, it stands these teams in really good stead to have this pressure environment. It makes them better. So if they come up against a similar ranked team in the world and it's going goal for goal, they're not stressed about it because they've been in this situation before.
Oh, that was unlucky. Straight through Thieman's arms, but Gallagher didn't quite hold on to it. And I think if you talk to any performance experts, they always say it's that regular, close games, week in, week out, which makes world champions.
Yeah, definitely. And I think in a coaching environment where you're always looking for how do we recreate that pressure? How do we put pressure on ourselves, whether it's time pressure, scoreboard pressure, physical pressure, to make us feel like we're in a game situation. And there's nothing better than being in these tight situations to learn what it feels like and to be calm in them.
And that's a great ball in there.
Really good ball by Llewellyn.
And if you think these teams, all three teams are in the top 11 in the world.
Yeah. I mean, it's a travesty really that one of them won't go, and they've all improved a lot, I think, over the last few years as well. Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland have all taken huge leaps forward.
That's another big goal by Gallagher there. 17 all, just over 6 minutes remaining in this second quarter.
The shooting's been really good, really accurate tonight. I can't remember too many being missed. And in this kind of pressure environment, that's pretty impressive.
You're starting to see all the best teams in the world now aiming for 90% plus in their shooting. It used to be 80%, and 80% just isn't good enough anymore.
No, it's not. And you see shooters coming off disappointed when they're in like just hitting 80% or just over it, and you're thinking, wow, like these girls are machines at the minute.
So Scotland's ball just waiting for the penalty to be set. Brownie. That's a good run into the circle there.
Yeah, I think Susie Drain was lucky to get away with kind of jumping the edge of the circle there, because she cut off the ball to Gallagher, which would have put him in a shooting position, but it doesn't matter in the end as Gallagher converts, and it's now Scotland's centre pass with an opportunity for them to go 2 up in this match. Nia Jones not happy with that call, and Ian Fuller reminding her who's in charge.
As Ian's able to do.
In his own unique way.
So all of a sudden, the game changes. Scotland now taking a 2-goal lead.
And now the pressure is on Wales, and we see that they're just a bit of a drop ball, a bit of a fumble. And Scotland have another turnover. And Bethan Goodwin has a shot under the post.
There we go. 19-18. So 3 goals difference now. Centre pass. They score. Oh! I think we're feeling it as much as the players on court. In fact, sometimes players say it's worth sitting on the bench watching the game rather than actually being involved.
Well, at least you feel like you've got some kind of control over it there. A nice take by Sarah Llewellyn there, and turns and finds Georgia Rowan marked under the post after riding that pressure from Hayley Mulheron.
So again, we're back to 2 goals, 3 minutes to go. The coaches will be turning their attention to their half-time, which is quite long at international rules, 12 minutes.
It's not long when you're a player. Doesn't feel long. Just about caught your breath. But I think there's a lot to be said by the coaches. You know, there's definite improvements to be made by both teams. But I think both coaches will be reasonably pleased with how the teams are responding to pressure. They're not capitulating, they're not allowing massive runs from the other team. They're holding firm.
Another tricky penalty on the edge of the circle. Goodwin holds that real strong front position. Oh, well read by Jones there. Was a player we saw at under 17 and under 21 level in Netball Europe for many years for Wales, and as you said, she took some time out to play football, come back in relatively recently, and obviously fought herself back into starting 7 position for Wales. And she'll take credit for that, bringing Wales back to 1 goal.
I think that's smart by Scotland. They've been struggling to get depth on their second phase out of centre pass, and bringing Bethan out on second phase just released that pressure up there. She missed the shot there, but it looked a lot easier coming down court.
So with just over 2 minutes, wherever you are in the world, watching great feeds from Llewellyn to Row in there. Yes. Remember, send us your comments. #NEWNCK, Netball Europe World Netball Cup Qualifier. 20 all, 2 minutes to go. I'm not sure how many more times we can reflect on this score. Clever play by Llewellyn. Sooner or later, Clement had to come off or leave Row and herself exposed. 21 to Wales, Scotland 20. Their centre pass, minute and a half to go.
Scotland need a little bit more of what Wales have got in terms of their defenders driving through, taking the ball to the 2/3 line. It's kind of getting clogged around that 2/3 line for Scotland, and then they ended up losing the ball.
So Jones didn't only do another fantastic interception, she fed the ball right through to the go shooter, so she's having a good game at the moment.
A really good feed there, and now we're back to Wales being up by 2.
Less than a minute to go now. Great ball again into Row, creating good space. (23 to Wales, Scotland 20. Both teams are going to want to go in with a different emphasis here. Wales are going to want to go in with a little bit more of a gap, and Scotland are going to want to capture this one. Clever play by Goodwin.
And a good shot there. That eases the pressure. Whose centre passes it? Wales. They've got about 5 seconds to get this ball in, so expect a long hoof into Row.
And they're indicating for it, they want it.
Scotland just held them up there.
So we go in at half time in this incredibly tight match between Wales and Scotland, with Wales now leading 23 to Scotland's 21.
Yeah, I think the difference now is it's going to be Scotland's centre pass when we come out, and they'll look to close that gap down to 1, and then we're probably back into the seesaw game that we saw then.
That's a mouthful to say, Sarah.
Yep.
Seesaw game that we saw then.
Yep.
So the teams have gone off court. We're hoping to get a camera in to hear what the coaches are saying. But for the meantime, I'm going to welcome to the commentating box Claire Briegel, who is the Chief Executive of the International Netball Federation, joining me now. So we're just watching some of the replays of that game, Claire. Welcome.
Thank you.
Exciting.
Great to be here. Really exciting match. It's such a great pleasure to be here.
So only 2 goals in it. We should start by thanking the International Federation for funding the live streaming here, which is bringing netball to all the people who are literally watching around the world, as we're seeing on the live streaming thing. What was your thoughts on the game?
Well, I this is such an important fixture this whole weekend, the start to the road to the World Cup. For the 3 teams that are here, with only 2 going through, it's so critical for the players, and you can see that in the intensity of the play. These girls, they're putting all on the court tonight. A bit frantic in the beginning, starting to settle down a little bit, quality of play. I'm just thrilled to be watching it live, and I hope everybody at home is enjoying it as much as I am.
Sarah Bayman and I have been talking about the unfairness, if you like, that you've got the teams here, 3 of them in the world's top 11. One of them won't be going to the pinnacle competition for netball as the World Netball Championship. And if you compare that to the Commonwealth Games, where it's done on world rankings, so all of our teams will be heading to the Gold Coast in April. Can you kind of give us some thoughts of the strategy and the policy behind that from an international federation perspective?
Yes, I can see from the teams that are here tonight, they look at that and they say, well, why isn't the qualification done on the same basis as the Commonwealth Games? Well, the reality is on the World Game for the Netball World Cup, it is a World Cup, and it's important for the growth of the game that we are giving each of the regions around the world an opportunity. So in the qualification, the top 5 teams in the world automatically qualify based on world rankings to guarantee the quality at the top end of the game, and then you have the host will automatically qualify. Now, of course, because England is the host, that means they are in the top 5. It means that the 6th team in the world will automatically qualify, and that will be done based on the world rankings a year out. And then the remainder of the places, it's 2 from each region.
Do you think and it is a real kind of discussion point, isn't it? And you know the views of Netball Europe, which is we believe the best teams in the world should compete at the best competition. I can appreciate INF's viewpoint and the fact that we have teams in the rest of the region, but to break through as a sport in where we believe we can be, would it not make some sense to think about, the best teams being there? Because, Australia, New Zealand, England, Jamaica, as long as I can remember, that's been the kind of the 4. Commercially, from a competition point of view, how do we actually change that if we don't have the best teams in the world there?
I think you're absolutely right. We do need to grow the game, and we need to have the best teams there. But if you look at the traditional base for netball, it is the Commonwealth countries, and by opening it up and having that 2 per region, it gives the game an opportunity to grow outside of that traditional Commonwealth base. There are great players out there, athletes, women and girls in other sports that would just love to play netball, and we have to take a balanced view. And I think this is going to be a great item for debate amongst our teams when we get to the Commonwealth Games in just a few months now down under. And I know that all of our countries are going to be lobbying again to have a look at the World Cup structure, and we will keep talking to our members and making sure we're doing the right thing.
And of course, it is a member organisation, so members have an opportunity every 2 years to bring papers to INF and to have these discussions. But when you look at the quality of netball now, perhaps compared to a decade ago, teams like here and in other parts of the world where the competition is so close, that must be something the INF are really pleased about.
I think we're absolutely thrilled. I mean, you've got teams, you had the Fast 5 Netball World Series just before Christmas, so at the end of October in Australia, and you actually in the final, you had England versus Jamaica, and Australia and New Zealand were having to fight it out for the bronze medal. Well, that doesn't happen too often, so we are seeing a shift in the game. It should happen more, and maybe that will happen in the Commonwealth Games. We would be so excited to see some different teams getting medals up there. We're really thrilled to see the performance of South Africa, who are really coming forwards. So we don't know who's going to be in that final when it comes to Gold Coast. We don't know who's going to qualify this weekend. I wouldn't like to put any money on it. We're seeing what's going on tonight. It's going to be right through to Sunday, I'm convinced.
I'm absolutely sure you're right. And we've mentioned the World Cup, so let's have a look at the launch event, which happened only on Thursday, yesterday, this week. Let's take a quick look on the screen and see what happened in the last day.
So, of course, this is the George's Hall.
So really exciting times, Claire. World Cup here in the region again. Some of the teams that are competing, we're inviting teams from all around the world. The region's beginning to get a reputation of hosting really good events. There's so much happening in the netball world, not only here but everywhere. What would you say are the top one or two kind of strategic goals for INF going forward?
Well, we want to see the World Cup getting greater coverage around the world. Obviously, the live streaming today is part of that. We're delighted that we're showing it through a number of different channels. That means that the netball fans around the world can enjoy the games in other regions, and that's really important. The netball family is large. We are across all 5 regions, which isn't the case for many sports. So I know there are going to be people watching through all those channels in every country, looking to see the quality of those teams. So we've got a great 18 months of netball to look forward to. I really hope all the fans will just enjoy the fact that we're actually seeing some fantastic women's sport on television. And I'd like to thank all the broadcasters that are getting on board with that, because it makes such a difference to us to be able to see our sport and our top athletes out there shining on the screen.
Absolutely, and it adds another dimension to performance sport as well, because a lot of these players coming through now not only just have the competition to deal with, but they've got the pressure of being on TV and all the media and stuff that sits around it, so it's kind of adding a tension. As you can see, we can see the thistles beginning to come into the hall. So Claire, thank you very much for joining me today. It's been a real pleasure. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the game, and thank you again for your support of the live streaming.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much, Lynn.
So as we start to get ready, really pleased to have you all with us. Remember, use hashtag Netball Europe World Netball Cup Qualifier, and we will keep your comments coming through. So Adam Fisher, know you well, thank you very much. Here you're enjoying Sarah's commentary. It's great to have you. Fiona Moore McGrath, I think we all know you. I think she's saying her heart rate's higher than it would be in the gym through watching this game. I think we probably feel the same, Sarah.
Yeah, but I'm not going to say that because our trainer might listen.
So we seem to be getting a lot of coverage from all over the world. Claire Brieger, who was just joining me, was talking about the importance of getting netball out to the world, not only to those of us who are netballers and will always be netballers, but to the broader community of people outside netball, to the possible sponsors, those who have broadcasting rights and who are willing to support us. How do you see the game of netball developing over the next few years?
I think if you look what's happened in Australia with the Suncorp League, and the level of professionalism that they've got there, and the fact that they're selling out huge stadiums week in, week out, that's what we've got to aim for. And by getting it seen by the wider public, it's going to pique people's interest. And we want to be selling out Super League games, every international. We want to sell those out consistently, and then force sponsors and the decision makers to take notice that this sport is actually in demand. People want to see it, people want to watch it. When it's on TV, it's getting viewing figures, and so we want to be part of it. And
of course, it's not just about those of us involved now, it's about those coming through, the
Massively.
Controversial issue of boys and girls. My son's at home watching now. He loves netball from a perspective of watching it. There's that whole debate about men and boys, good or bad for the sport, controversial.
I'd love for boys at school to play netball, just because I think even if they don't play it as adults and as men, it gives them a level of respect for the game that isn't always there, and to know the nuances of the game and to know how difficult it is and all the different rules. I think that's one way that we can, going forward, take it to the masses and make sure that we've got a huge male audience as well as female.
Okay, so we're just noticing that Wales are making a substitution, so they're bringing on a new goalkeeper. Interesting, because their defence was going quite well. They're bringing on Letitia Kidner at goal defence. Kelly Morgan's coming off. Thoughts about that?
Similar to you, I thought the defence end was doing pretty well. I thought Kelly Morgan was putting Bethan Goodwin under pressure. Maybe Wales have just taken notice of the fact that Goodwin's the key shooter in this game so far, and they're wanting to give us something different to think about in terms of Kidner coming on.
So here we go. The teams are taking to the court. Michelle, who's one of my netballers on a Tuesday night, mum's netball. Nothing like this. Used to be, but some of us are getting on a little bit. It's inspiring us to play like this on a Tuesday night.
Well, I look forward to seeing the video footage of that, Lynn. My mum has also
You'd have to pay a lot of money for that, Sarah.
My mum has also just taken up walking netball, so I think it's great that it's getting out there.
I'm still playing full netball, I have to say, just to get that.
Oh, sorry, no, I didn't mean you were walking.
So here we go, this very exciting first of the 3 games here this weekend. Wales has a 2-goal lead over Scotland, 23-21. Early miss there. That could be...
Yeah, I mean, that was a good centre pass from Scotland. They would have wanted to make sure that was put away, and now they need to go...
expensive miss by Gallagher on that one.
It could be, and they'll want to turn this ball over, because otherwise it's onto Wales centre pass and a lead can start to open up.
So Wales using the width of the court.
Llewellyn's playing really well, just popping off Georgia Rowe. You know, she's rolling the front when Rowe's holding. She's just popping through on the baseline. Obviously, I've just cursed her, so she misses a shot.
It's interesting looking at the shooters when they start changing their normal movement. You kind of think it's the defence getting to them a little bit.
Yeah, she was under big pressure there, and she's not the tallest shooter, so her action could get affected by the defenders.
And again, pressure down this end. That's 2 turnovers now in the Scottish end already, with just over a minute and a half nearly on the clock gone. 3rd quarter. Something characteristic.
This is looking a little bit like the first quarter. A lot of turnovers to begin with. Both teams trying to settle. Another miscommunication there.
I'd have expected Brownie to get hold of the game, just shut down with her experience for the Scottish attack there.
Yeah, just try and get hold of a bit of ball, slow the pace somewhat. Wales now with a penalty pass in the middle of the court. Ooh, well taken, Susie Drain.
It is tight everywhere you look. You think pressure from the defenders is significant.
And this is when your basic skills have to really hold up. All the catching under pressure you do, all the wall work with just you and a ball and a wall. This is what it's for, because your basic skills shouldn't be what lets you down in this situation.
I have to say, Nia Jones is having a very good game so far.
Got another steal there for her team.
Interesting as well, circle player, not particularly tall.
No, and in this game she's doing very well, because I think we talked about the fact that Scotland don't go over a lot. They go front, they go low ball. When she gets up against other international teams, that can be where she struggles, because if you've got big goal attacks, the likes of Maria Toutayer, Gretel Tippett, who are well over 6 foot, it makes it difficult for someone like Nia Jones to get up and compete with them in the air.
And in games like this, where particularly all the teams know each other, the coaches know each other, that kind of thought about who you're going to come up to, the tactics. You don't just put 7 players out who you think are the best. You've got to really think about it.
It's horses for courses, you know. If you want to shut a specific thing down, you put a specific player out there to do that job. And Nia Jones at the minute is a perfect example of that. You know, she runs hard on ball, she's good on flat and low ball, and she's driving ball through court, and that's exactly what Wales need from her.
So here we are, 4 minutes gone in this 3rd quarter. We've had 1 goal scored so far, so you're right, it's almost gone back to the first quarter completely. 23 to Wales, 22 Scotland.
Fiona Thiemann put a lot of pressure on Sarah Llewellyn there, and she did well just to offload it to Georgia Rowe.
We were saying at the beginning, the stats we've got shows Fiona as 17, but I think she's a little bit more experienced than that.
I don't want to say she doesn't look 17, but
I didn't say that.
She might have had a really tough paper round.
So here come Wales again, 2 goals in it. Great vision.
Good ball. And Thiemann saw that coming. She just couldn't get her feet in the right place to get up.
So 3-goal game. Well centre pass.
That's
another really good feed in there. I think the defenders now, Scotland, are beginning to think need to do something a bit different.
Yeah, we need to switch it up. You can see they're putting like a zone defence off that centre pass, but there it was 3 passes and in. So at what point do you change that? Possibly go man-to-man or 2-on-1 on Bethan Dyke, who's the dominant centre pass receiver.
Oh, good hands by Kinder there.
It's a big shot. And a clever pass there from Gallagher to Goodwin.
And back to 3. Wales 26, Scotland 23.
Wales are using the corners a lot better than they were doing. They're getting a lot more width, dragging this Scotland defence apart and opening gaps up in the middle. You can see Bethan Dyke there just receiving a couple of balls in the corner, and she's not the tallest player, but because there was no one around her, it could go easily. I think the Scottish defenders thought that penalty pass was taken, but it's been called back and Georgia Rowe will get another shot.
I think Moharan was alleged to have caught on the arm as well. So double penalty, 4 goals in it, 27 Wales, 23 to Scotland. So still only 3-2 this quarter, and we're only 8.5 minutes left on the clock.
I'm just still feeling sorry for the mid-court who are just running up and down with no goals being scored. It's a good shot by Bethan Goodwin. She's been impressive in terms of standing up to the pressure tonight. We're going to see a change here from Scotland with Bethany Sutherland coming on to wing defence in place of Sam Murphy.
So a young but experienced player in Sutherland. Comes from good netball stock, as we all know. Mum, Pat Sweeney, played for England.
I know, I only just found this out tonight.
Still can't believe you didn't know that.
I know, I need to brush up my netball history knowledge.
So it will be interesting to see the difference that Sutherland makes to Scotland.
It's certainly a bit more height for Scotland, and against someone like Bethan Dyke that she'll look to expose that, because Bethan's a little bit shorter than her.
Sutherland now playing up here, I think, with you.
Yeah, she's signed for Sirens after playing for Surrey Storm last year.
Good move for her.
Hopefully. No, I think she was keen to get time with the Scottish players, and after university this year, she's looking to move up to Scotland. So yeah, she came up here, and we'll try and use her to the best of her abilities.
So game creeping closer yet again. Halfway through, 3rd quarter, 2 goals in it, with a Welsh lead.
So that's a good feed from Claire Brown, who just putting the ball on the side that Kidner can't get it.
It almost feels a little bit that the team that's going to keep settled, keep control of the ball, take their time, is the one that might just emerge at the other end.
Yeah,
victorious.
I think definitely the ones who can keep the composure and minimise errors as much as possible. There's some sloppy mistakes happening.
Oh, great hands by Brownie. Oh, off the court.
That's unfortunate. It was a great hands by Brownie, a good flick and caught by Bethany Sutherland, and she just couldn't resist putting a hand out from off court. Oh, Scotland have got an attacking contact off Georgia Rowe there. And we've seen Thiemann a lot more this quarter, driving down court, and I don't know if that was a message at half-time, but it does make a difference to Scotland.
Oh,
I mean, that's just sloppy when you've got a free player. You've got a player out of play, someone must be free. So they'll be disappointed to lose that ball there, Scotland.
That was a good take by Rowe. She was under pressure by both the defenders there. 28-25.
Oh, that's a good ball. Llewellyn's put some beautiful ball into row tonight, and that was another example, just off the centre pass, turned, launched it, and that's just from confidence. When your feeds are going well, that's the confidence you get from it, and you're just able to put it in from range. Fiona Thiemann there was just all out of options. She looked everywhere. There was no one coming to her.
So now with 4 goals in it, Wales force of possession. Will we see for the first time a 5-goal gap, or could it go the other way? Oh.
Don't speak too soon.
I think one of the great things about this game for me is the consistency of the players not to give up, not to stop competing, not to stop putting pressure on that ball. Everything is being competed all the way down the court by all 14 players.
Yeah, and even if there was a 10-goal lead by a team, in this competition with what's at stake, you'd expect that from players, because they want to go to a World Cup. Everyone wants to go to a World Cup, and so, yeah, they're putting absolutely everything into this.
And of course the World Cup itself is massive, but many of the teams' funding relies on their position that they finish, whether they qualify for World Cups or Commonwealth Games. If they don't get the funding, they don't have the money to invest in international competition, they can't get the games like this. It almost becomes a negative spiral.
Yeah, and it's hard to get out of that, and it's hard for lower ranked teams to haul themselves up the rankings sometimes. It's hard for those in the mid-range to get towards the top, and so, yeah, it's tough, and you don't want to think about that as a player. If we don't make this tournament, we could lose funding, but it is a reality of the game at this level. And
so
now we see Sam Murphy coming back on it into wing attack for Nicola McCleary for Scotland.
With 3 goals in it, just under 4 minutes now in this third quarter. Still relatively low scoring game. 30 Wales,
really low
Scotland
scoring.
27. 7-4 in this quarter so far.
That was a great hit by Sutherland, and Brownie chased it down and got the contact from Llewellyn.
Kinder coming out, it was good pressure. Just made Scotland hesitate for a second about where the ball was going to go.
That ball couldn't go straight to Brownie on the top. They've worked it into Bethan Goodwin.
And we're back to 2. Wales 30, Scotland 28.
That was good from Sam Murphy. That's what Scotland needs, some drive off that line at centre pass, some easy ball. At some point you can't continue to just receive ball under pressure all the time. You need something that releases that, and that drive from Sam Murphy did that, and then Scotland score a goal and suddenly the momentum's with them.
So 1 goal in it now. Well, centre pass, wanting to get a little bit more of a margin ahead.
Again, Susie Drain and Nia Jones just working that ball up between themselves, taking it to their attackers.
Great ball again, Llewellyn finding Rowe. It's a great slotted ball in there, lots of pressure in the circle.
Nice ball there from Bethan Dyke. Scotland needs some options in that attacking end. Sam Murphy's there looking forward. Nothing's coming.
I think she's going to call it Scott. Is she going to call it Wales?
Oh. That call looked like it could have gone either way. Wales have it though on the back line.
Or did.
And then throw it away.
That's you can just sense the pressure out there on the players, can't you?
Yeah.
2 goals in it. Just under 1.5 minutes to go.
My hamstrings couldn't take that amount of low ball. I'll tell you what. It's a good shot from Lindsay Gallagher.
230 just appeared on the screen there for Scotland.
Big shot, isn't it?
If you're watching at home,
100.
31-30 is the actual score. We're into the last minute now. This game is really tense. It's a big shot. Oh!
You could see
when
Llewellyn looked away to pass it, you could see she wasn't comfortable shooting it. And then Thiemann got it well for that rebound to get a contact.
That was a good pick up by Sutherland there. Jones putting pressure on.
I think that the difficult thing with the game that the Scotland shooters play is that you're asking for body-on-body contact. The defenders are going to be on your back the whole game, and it gets tiring.
Yeah.
Just wearing a defender for the whole game is really, really tiring, and at some point errors creep in, and so you're going to have to be mega fit to kind of wear that physical pressure.
See Gallagher's face there. You know, Jones is more or less doing what she's been doing the whole of the game, but maybe now.
Oh, 3/4 time. No? What's happening?
I'm not sure. I didn't think that was the end of the game, to be honest. I thought we got some time left on the clock. I didn't hear the whistle go. So
I think they're checking with the bench.
It should be Scotland's penalty.
I think there's about 10 seconds left, isn't there? So
I would have thought that, I think that's what it was. So we're all draw, 31 all, 10 seconds left. Great ball into Goodwin. Oh, that's such a big score by Goodwin.
Oh, right on the buzzer.
32 goals to Scotland, 31.
I don't know how anyone else is,
oh
but
my goodness.
I've got sweaty palms, I'm nervous, I'm not even sure who for. Like, what is going on?
Wow, I don't think we could get any closer. So, 32-31, 15 minutes to go. When these two teams met in October, the final score had a 9-goal difference, with Scotland beating Wales by that margin. There is literally nothing to choose in this game.
Yeah.
So, if you were the coaches on there, Scotland first, what would you be doing or saying to your team right now?
This is why I'm not a coach. I think I'd just be trying to instill some calmness, because all they have to do at this point is take their centre pass to goal. Throughout the game, they've won enough turnover ball to win this match, but poor decisions, lack of movement in the attack end has just led to them gifting ball back to the opposition, and so just get a little element of calm into the game. Easier said than done.
And I think that's really good advice out there. I think where we're seeing the two teams losing the ball is when it just becomes a little bit intense. They're not really thinking, they're not seeing the arms. And when you've got your opposition literally on your back all the time, those passes have to be even more accurate than they are. So Wales, we're almost in a position where at one point 4 goals ahead, possibly 5, now back to 1 down.
Yeah, and I think for Wales, you've got to reset. If you're in a position where you've been up in the game and you feel like you could have pushed away and you've not, there's then there's a temptation to kind of go back into yourself and be like, oh, poor us, you know, we should be up in this game and we're not. Well, no, not poor you. Let's reset and start from 0. There's nothing in this game. You're 1 goal down. I'm not sure whose centre pass it is, but we could be level in 10 seconds. So let's reset. Let's start from the beginning. Let's go back to our game plan, because that was working, and let's just make sure that we work hard for each other, continue to do what we're doing, bring it out from defence right to the attack end, and grind it out. These are the games that you've got to grind out.
This game is, either team could win this, let's be honest.
Yes.
It's going to go down to the team that have got the ability to just keep focused. If they get turnover, they score from it. And it's just that concentration right to the end, because it's literally now 1 or 2 mistakes split these two teams over the next quarter.
And it can be devastating, because it can be a mistake in the last minute, and that's what decides the game to be won by 1, and that's the mistake that everyone remembers. But in these 3 quarters, we've had umpteen mistakes that people will forget, and there's critical points in a game, and you have to recognise those, and you have to take ball to goal at that point. If you're 3 goals up with an opportunity to push onto a 4-goal lead, that's a critical moment. If you lose that centre pass, then it can go back to 1 goal in a matter of seconds. So recognising these critical moments is what coaches work with players on, and how to convert that ball into goals when those critical moments happen.
And saying it and understanding it, but doing it when you're on the court is really tricky.
Two completely different things. And it's also a team understanding. So one player might recognise that it's a critical moment and be trying to do something. A couple of other players haven't recognised it and are trying something flashy, and all of a sudden there's a breakdown. And that's the beautiful thing about this game. It's a truly team game. Not one person can do it all. You've got to win as a team and lose as a team. And I think that the togetherness of both of these squads is, you can see they both want it. They both want to win for each other, and they're both very proud nations, and that's why we're seeing the kind of scoreline that we are.
So we can see the umpires just recovering the ball, bringing it out. It's going to be a Wales centre pass, so Jones will take this. Here we go. I'm not sure the nerves of the crowd or here are going to last for another 15 minutes. So as we enter the last quarter of this first game here, the World Netball Cup qualifiers in Perth in Scotland, Wales 31 behind to home Scottish Thistles 32.
Oh, great hand by Mulheron. And Brownie gets the contact call. Huge tip.
You wonder why at a point like that you don't put the shot up, even though you can see the option of popping it into the shooter. Now let's see what Goodwin does down the other end.
That's what you want to see from your shooters. As a centre court, when you see your shooters turning to post and putting shots up, you're like, hallelujah, this is gonna be good. When you see them looking to pass off, that's when the jitters start spreading through the team.
Good hands there by Drain's had a good game.
Just had a message from Kat to Ivaiti. She's tuning in.
From?
I think she's in Italy with her husband.
There we go, the benefit of a truly international sport like ours. And live streaming literally takes netball anywhere in the world. Good win again.
Great shot from Bethan Goodwin.
3 goals now, Scotland take a lead. Wales are going to be under pressure on their centre pass now. I think coaches over the years with the live telestream matches have got very used to kind of keeping poker faces as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they do it, to be honest. Another reason why I'm not suited to coaching.
So Rowe slots one in for Wales, pulls the gap back to 2.
Oh, I thought that was going to go into Goodwin. Brownie did well to get something on that ball. She gets it into Goodwin, who slots another.
I don't think, and I haven't seen the stats, but it doesn't feel like Goodwin's missed any so far. If she has, it must be 1 or 2 maximum.
Yeah, I mean, she's had an incredible game, especially considering that she's taken on the bulk of the shooting for the Thistles.
That was a good feed by Llewellyn there. Popped it on the opposite side of the defender. 35-33. Scotland come away again.
And that's exactly what we're talking about. Goodwin there, mid-range, takes the ball, doesn't even think about anything else other than the shot. Llewellyn's done a power of work out front for Wales, and you see that drive that she made there towards the back of the circle, just pulled both the defenders off, so Georgia was free under the post.
Gallagher finds Brownie.
You don't like to see teams going lateral too much in the attacking end. It's kind of asking for defenders to come flying through on that ball, but then work it through, and Goodwin slots another.
So 3 minutes gone, 34 to Wales, and I'll say who will break first. Scotland have the ball, turnover on the Welsh centre. Now this is where you were saying about a critical moment, isn't it, that you were talking about just at quarter time.
And you look at that, and now that call's gone in Wales's favour. I mean, I'm not sure about that call, but Oh, now we've had 3 seconds. Nia Jones getting booed. She'll love that.
I don't think it will really worry her.
No, she actually just thrives off stuff like that. I think Nia Jones, like she enjoys getting under people's skin, and she's a defender. That's what you're there to do. Oh, she's been sent off.
Or is he just saying to her to calm down, or is he sending her off? No, he's sending her off. Now that is a massive, massive decision.
With 11 and a half minutes to go, and now 4 goals in it. You're down a goal defence.
So Scotland have got their 4 goals on the centre pass against a Welsh team who are all of a sudden playing with 6 players.
You've just got a question though there. Why are you bringing a shooter out the circle? You've got 2-on-1 in your shooting circle, and Goodwin's coming out for ball. I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
So
big ball there from Llewellyn.
Now the
Great
confidence that came behind that. You see the Welsh players looking at the scoreboard, 3 in it, 38-35. We're just under 11 minutes to go. How long will they keep Jones off? A minute?
I think 2 minutes, I think.
Big take by Rowe. They're working to 2 goals in it now.
Well, Scotland need to think about what they're doing. It's actually pretty difficult to play with an extra player because you're not really sure where to go and what to do sometimes. But that was much better, that centre pass, compared to the first one. Had a bit of time to work it out.
It is hard, isn't it? Because all of a sudden you're used to having a player with you, then you're free, and then nobody's not sure who's there, and then you're playing a kind of a floating defenders around you because they have to do, and then you've got to really.
You're not really sure where the defenders are. That from Jones, off the back line, trying to find Rowe. Good ball from Sam Murphy. And we've not seen that all game. We've talked about how much front ball Scotland have got, and just that one, just changing it. Pop a little ball over to Bethan Goodwin. She's tall enough. She can hold. And again.
There you go. Take that ticket. 41 now against Wales 36. Well, Wales are going to be wondering about the decision on
Nia Jones.
Well, she's back on. But they now have 5-goal deficit to pick up. Bit of an unforced error there. You just sense the game potentially is
seesawing towards Scotland here. And you know, like another couple of goals, if this lead's pushed out to 7, it starts to become really difficult to pull that back within 10 minutes.
5 goals, 9 on the clock, still everything in it. That's not the game over at all.
We've seen lots of World Championship finals, bronze medal playoffs where there's been 10-goal deficits in the last quarter pulled back, but it becomes more and more difficult.
Absolutely, as the clock ticks down.
Ooh. Take.
Oh, and another one.
Well done, Sam Murphy.
Big shot again. Scotland now taking a little bit of a commanding lead, 43. There's your 7 goals, 36 for Wales. 8:20 on the clock, last quarter.
And this is the point we were talking about, where it just becomes about converting your centre pass. Scotland don't have to do anything flashy now. They don't have to take anything risky on. They just need to get their centre pass to goal and continue to do that for 8 minutes, and they win the game.
And just continue to put pressure on Wales. If they score off the centre pass, that's fine. As long as they keep scoring theirs, they maintain 7 goals now.
Exactly. And the more they do that, the better Scotland feel.
Yeah.
Bethan Dyke looks like she's coming off here.
She looks like she's pulled something, quad or...
Oh, we've got a few changes. So Carolee Mosley's coming on to goal attack. Susie Drain's moving into wing attack. And I think we've got Fern Davis. No? Yep,
Fern Davis is on.
Into wing defence.
That looks like a...
I mean, at first I just thought she was calling time to make a change, but that looks pretty serious.
I mean, with another game to go this weekend, just hope she comes back.
That's a worry for Wales.
So still 7 goals in it. That's the way to break that pressure down. Swing the ball wide.
It is, and that's that composure. Just looking at all your options.
Ooh.
See a bit of frustration there from Cara Jones. She's thrown a couple of balls away, and she's probably just frustrated at herself more than anything else.
So 8 goals, whereas 10 minutes ago you would have thought this was going to be a 1 or 2 goal game. It's beginning to look like the same result as in October.
Yeah.
There we go, 9 goals, 7 minutes to go. How did that happen?
Well, I know, and there's a couple of elements to it. We talked about keeping composure. Fitness comes into it in the last quarter. Which team can maintain the pace, and also if you ever need a home advantage, this is the time.
Here it is now. Yep. That's a great ball again.
See, all of a sudden there's space in that circle.
She's rolling off towards the post rather than asking for that tight one at the front.
Yeah, and it just feels a lot looser. You can almost feel like a whole sigh of relief around this stadium that people are like, yep, we've got opportunity here.
Now that is a very big confident shot.
Casual
Flick
from
of the air.
Bethan Goodwin.
Scotland 47, Wales 36. If you're watching this at home, are you as nervous and tense as we are? What a game this has been.
Caroline Mosley, a massively experienced player, and just showing it there. Just laying the ball off, seeing the space.
Made it look really easy.
Yeah. And she does. She's one of those players that just seems to glide around court, never seems to be sprinting, but will outpace a defender.
But with 6 minutes left on the clock, is it going to be enough to pull Wales into this game? Or Kinder? Got another injury there. Probably when you think about the strength with which these players have had to train, the preparation they've put in, they will have pushed themselves to the limit. And in this match, I think it's fair to say they've done exactly the same.
Yeah, Kelly Morgan's just come on to goalkeeper for Wales. It's all looking a little bit too late with 5 minutes to go. I mean, there's a lot of netball to play, but
that's 10, 5 real good turnovers and no scores off their own centre passes. So you put it in that context, look at the time left and 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's not been a massively high-scoring game. If it was a game that was up there in the 50s, 60s, 70s, then you're saying, yeah, these teams have got the ability to score quickly, but that's not been shown tonight.
So pull one back for Wales through Georgie Rowe, but still 10 goals gap here. 5 minutes to go. We're getting asked by quite a lot of the viewers about what happened when Nia Jones got sent off, and is there a replay? We'd have to look to QTV Sport for that. I don't think we were really 100% clear. Perhaps it was her reaction to the call by Ian Fuller.
It looked like it was due to the reaction rather than to the
actual
call.
Infringement.
Yeah.
And there she goes again. Well, we don't actually call for a player of the match, but I'm going to put you on the spot and say, if you had to, where would your vote go today?
Well, I think it's probably got to go to Bethan Goodwin, because she's changed the game, especially this last quarter. She's shot a huge percentage of Scotland's goals. She's, like we said in the intro, she's a young player. She's not got a huge amount of experience at senior international level, and she's stepped up in one of the most pressured environments she'll have ever been in, and she's just absolutely nailed it. So it would have to go to her, but I'm really impressed with the difference Sam Murphy's made when she's come onto wing attack. I think she's done a really good job, and the defensive pairing for Scotland have also done well. But there's some players on the Welsh team who are going to be unlucky to be on the losing side, like the likes of Llewellyn, who's done a really great job. And Nia Jones, I mean, she got sent off, and that's gonna taint this game for her. But up until then,
she was having a fantastic game. She was having a brilliant game. You were saying about Bethan Goodwin, she's only just 18 years of age. Well, 18 and a half. We'll give her the extra half a year. But for the composure, the quality of the netball, she's playing beyond her years.
Yeah, and for her to be Scotland's #1 shooter, she could be there for the next 15 years. And so that's almost scary for other teams, because she's only going to get better and better.
Well, Bethan Goodwin seems to have a fan in Amy, who's watching live on TV, as we can see on Twitter there. I'm sure many of you are tuning in from around not only Europe but the rest of the world, so you're very welcome to be with us. Don't forget we have 2 games on to this weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
I think it's going to be interesting tomorrow to see how Wales recover from this to get up for the Northern Ireland game. It's going to be an absolute must-win for them. And it's hard at less than 24-hour turnaround. They're going to have to recover well, get over this loss, debrief, and go again. So it's a big task for them from here.
It is 2.5 minutes to go. Oh, that was well positioned by Nia Jones. Saw that one coming through. 11 goals at the moment, though, between these two. Scotland 50, Wales 39. When you talk about Wales playing Northern Ireland tomorrow, there was 1 goal in it in October.
Yeah, so predict a winner there. It's like we said, it's so tight, and I mean you could end up in a scenario where all these teams beat each other, and that'd almost be even more sad because someone would lose out on a World Cup spot because of goal difference.
So here we go, 2 minutes left on the clock. I think we'd say this has been certainly a very entertaining, demanding, challenging hour of netball for both the teams and for all of us who are watching it.
Yeah, I mean, physically it's taken a lot out of me, so I'm not sure not sure how the players feel.
I think you're heading down to the Quad Series, aren't you, this weekend?
Yeah, I am tomorrow to see the England-New Zealand game, and I know that some of the England girls are tuning into this tonight, so yeah, a whole weekend of netball. And
as it should be. What else is there to do, Sarah?
Well, why is it not like this every weekend? That's what
I want to know. This is a very good question. This is what we need to ask our International Netball Federation. So 12 goals the gap now, so they've pulled ahead of the score between these two teams when they played at the Netball Europe Open in October last year.
And that does start to become a consideration now. When you're 12 goals up, it's like, how many can we push on? Because if it comes to goal difference, we want to get a big score on the board here.
So I've just said the difference between Wales and Northern Ireland in October was 1. The difference between Scotland and Northern Ireland in October was 1.
Well,
it's a good challenge by Jones. But a bit offside, although the umpire didn't see it. There is something about the umpire didn't see that one either.
She gave herself away there, Nia Jones.
What do they say if the umpire doesn't call it? Play on?
Exactly. Sometimes if they do call it, you try and play on.
So 30 seconds to go. It's been an amazing first game here. Both teams have been very, very challenging. But a significant winner here in our home Thistles team.
Yeah, and Scotland will be thrilled with this result.
I think we'll hear how thrilled in a minute when the crowd reacts at the end of the game. Starting to hear the countdown.
There's about 2 seconds to go.
Throw into Scotland. And there we have it. That is a massive win for Scotland tonight. 52 goals to Wales 40. Considering how close the game was until that incident in the quarter, I think Wales will be disappointed.
Wales will be massively disappointed, and it just highlights how much a game can change. You've got 15 minutes and the game looks like it was a one-sided affair, and it wasn't at all. Up until three-quarter time you could have tossed a coin for who was going to win this, and the last quarter Scotland just pulled away. Nia Jones' sending off had something to do with that. Scotland's ability to find space, they widened the game, they kept the width, they got more depth, and the coaches will obviously be asking why didn't we do that at the beginning, but it's also a release of pressure. You know, at the beginning the defensive pressure is so tight, and just when it releases that tiny amount, that Scotland were able to find a whole heap more space in their attacking end.
And here we go, we can see some of those. So Goodwin played a massive part in this game. Her shooting was immense.
I'm looking forward to seeing her stats, because that's got to be one of the biggest games she's ever played in her life.
So if you're going to put out a performance like that, not only to get your team to the World Netball Cup, but to get yourself a place there on the train down to Liverpool, or coach, whichever way they choose to go, that's a pretty massive achievement for an 18-year-old.
It's huge, and Bethan's like such a happy-go-lucky kind of bubbly personality that you wouldn't think anything would bother her, but if anything was going to, it'd be a pressure situation like tonight, and she just turned up like it was a Sunday League match, just started slotting goals. It was fantastic to watch, and something very exciting for Scottish netball to know that they've got that kind of talent coming through.
So if you've enjoyed watching this game today, don't forget, send us your thoughts on Twitter, tell us what you thought of the game and what you think will happen for the rest of the weekend, because remember, tune in tomorrow, Saturday the 20th of January, to see Northern Ireland take on Wales. The match starts at 3 o'clock, and on Sunday, the final game of the weekend, Scotland against Northern Ireland, going out live at 12. So fantastic start to the weekend. Sarah, final comment from you?
Well, if that's a taster of what's to come, it's going to be an amazing weekend of netball, and obviously we've got the test series down in London as well, and I'm just really, really excited about where world netball's at and where it's heading to right now.
So let me take the opportunity to thank you for joining us. Really appreciate your support.
Thank you.
So those of you who've been watching at home, I hope you've enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will see you back here tomorrow. Thank you all very much, and good night.